Hey.
Hey, guys.
It's the end of the year.
I was going to say world, but yeah.
And the world. And
the world as we know it.
We just want to connect with you guys.
Just a little recap, a little look ahead, a little
look back.
Reflection. Yeah, just look back at it for a minute.
We want to look back at it. We want to look forward at it. And we want to look here at it.
Yeah, we want to look reverse cowgirl at it.
Great episode title. Oh my God. I feel like there's something. Wait, can we?
Yeah, we could make that work.
Can we get like claimed? Not claimed, but like
no,
striked, like inappropriate.
Canceled.
Like you can't have that as a title.
About to find out. No,
Reverse-Cowgirl-ing our year.
Yes. That's it.
Thanks to our moms. Dedicated
to our moms. Yeah.
They're going to love that.
Solid start. Solid start. Just so you guys know, for the last, I came over to record some episodes with Alyssa, and that was 6 hours ago, and we recorded one episode like 5 hours ago.
And we started getting into a tornado of hypothetical world views and like
cultural dynamics and nuances, and we just went off for hours and hours, and then Ryan just got home and was like, what are you actually still doing?
So we're like kind of a mess, but like I think this makes sense for doing this episode because it's like we want to share, like, yeah, it's the end of the year and we're all over the place, and that's okay. So if you are in that same exact boat, we see you.
We see you. We be you.
We be you. We are you.
Yes.
We are talking to ourselves watching this back. We literally are you.
I don't know what's so funny to me right now. I can't keep it together.
Okay.
Oh, Mo, this is when we lose all of our listeners.
Or gain them.
So obnoxious. Yeah, that too.
Okay, all right. Let's start off with, you know what I love?
What?
What are your, what do they call it? Yeah, your rose or your
rose
thorn for the year.
Okay. Ooh. Let's see.
How about we answer it with the podcast, like episode-wise?
Oh, yeah.
Or maybe not. We don't want to
We don't want to throw anyone under the bus.
Personal.
Should we restart this episode?
No,
Just kidding.
no.
Okay, so personal rose is probably all the work I've done on my music this year, and I've been able to. This year? I released 3 songs this year, which was good for me because in previous years I was just feeling like a lot of false starts and just like waiting on a lot of people and trying to figure out like how I was going to do. Like I shot a music video and released 3 songs, and definitely next year is going to be, it's going to be way more next year, but this was like a significant step up for me from where I was last year with my music. Last year I released 2 songs, but it definitely wasn't even, I didn't really have like my groove with like my releases and how to build them up. And then the marketing aspect, I didn't shoot any videos. So that's my rose. I'm proud of that this year. Do your rose first. And then
I would say my rose. I would say my rose is, can I have 2 roses?
Yes.
Okay.
I'll allow it.
I'll do continuing with writing. Continuing a very new muscle.
Yeah.
That's been, so helpful to me in so many ways, like creatively. And it's like I believe in this.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's like a very exciting muscle that I'm stretching. And like the fact that I haven't given up on myself.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That I'm like, wait. But not to say that I don't have times of just like, oh, this is fucking shit. I'm shit. Like I don't belong.
But you keep going.
Yes, I keep, I'm knock on wood, I'm keeping going.
That's for you.
Yeah. And my other rose, I'll say, is my mental health journey. I think I'm becoming more introspective and more, learning about myself and like why I have certain triggers and why I have certain resistances and why I have certain behaviors, like reactions to things. And
in our conversations this year too, you've had like a lot of, or you've shared with me like a lot of epiphanies and realizations you've had reflecting on like yourself, but also like the whole of your life. Like, yeah, I can see it in our conversations, but like you seem a lot more like connected with yourself that way.
Yeah. Yeah. For better, for worse. Cause I'll say this, my thorn is also my mental health.
Oh yeah. But that's how you know you're really working through something. Cause my thorn, I could also say, is my music not getting enough done this year.
So I could also say thorn is the right project because it's just, it's so, it's not easy. It's not easy.
Right. It's not hard.
It's not hard. I know it's so interesting how like you can have one thing can be both, but that's exactly. That's how you know that you're really working at something that's meaningful.
Yeah.
Like, cause especially like with mental health, like there were really interesting moments. Like I've had a lot of sleep issues, like as of recently too, like the last couple of months that like are very strange to me. Like I will not be able to sleep.
Whoa.
There was like, did I tell you like the week of my birthday, I only had like maybe 1 hour of sleep.
Ryan told me that.
Yeah.
He told me that at your birthday, and then you told me.
And it kind of came back last week, but I think it was because of the reading that we had. I'll get so stimulated, and it's like it's so. I don't know. Ryan's running some machine, some fucking industrial size like
the
factory. Anyway, I get so stimulated after something, especially when it comes to the writing project, because I'm just always thinking about how to better it and how to better myself when it comes to being a collaborator. And like, maybe it's like this and like this. I'm like so stimulated. And then like when we have a reading, we have feedback. I'm like, not great. Like just going into every comment and being like, oh, maybe they really meant this. And like, I'm just just because this project is so personal.
Yeah.
That will affect your sleep. That will affect it. So it's my thorn, but like also my rose because I'm acknowledging it. I'm trying to get better from it. I'm trying to figure out different ways of like meditation. I want to. My journaling's been sporadic, but I want to get better at it, and I know I need to do it. That's
good though. I actually like. I would say when you brought that up, like, my thorn is also that I didn't do enough for my music this year. It's just like, but I think that's how it is with like your biggest passions and the things that you really want to achieve and do. It's not, I mean, hopefully you're not always like unsatisfied and anxious about it, but also it's very, very infrequently is it enough. Because it's like, you can always, you can always look at like, okay, I'm proud of the growth that I've had, or not the growth, but also like the achievements I made this year in my music. I'm proud of this and this and this, a lot of good things. And then simultaneously, I'm also like, oh, I really want to be here though. I'm trying to get here. So this is so it's kind of the same.
Yeah.
I also was thinking of one of my thorns, but then I actually was like, that's a rose because it taught me an important lesson. But I was going to say another thorn from this year was just staying at this job too long that I was, I'm not there any longer, but I was there long after I was desperate to get out and just like miserable there. And like, it was
We've all been
awful.
there.
Yeah. So I was just like trying to make sure everything was like smooth. Like, I didn't want to leave. I didn't want to leave there and like leave anyone in the lurch, but I really wanted out, but I wanted to have my next thing lined up first. I was trying too hard to control how it happened. And so I think a couple lessons for me in that, which turned into be a rose. But I was like, you know what? When you know in your gut that like you want to be gone, just go, because if you stay too long, I stayed too long in our restaurant job and I got pushed out. Like I stayed until I got fired, and I was so ready to go that the night before I got fired, I was like desperately like trying to figure out what else and then it's like you manifested it somehow. And then the longer you stay in something that is not aligned with you, like, if at a certain point, if you're not making the move yourself, something in the universe is going to conspire to like, fine, bitch, if you're not going to do it, you're going to be forced out of this. And so I think for me, that was a thorn, but then a rose, because I'm like, okay, this really is a lesson, like to listen to my gut when I know and just actually make this. Things can be scary. You don't always have all the answers of what's next, but like just make the move, because otherwise you're going to be miserable, and then you're going to be like forced out anyway because you don't want to be there.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, oh my God, I relate so much to that. Like, I mean, obviously, because I also stayed up somewhere for too long.
Yeah.
But I'm also currently, I don't want to say, well, I'll tell you afterwards, but I'm like currently in a situation that like I should be leaving this situation. It's not my marriage.
Spoiler alert, it's not the marriage.
It's not, nothing. Yeah,
it's like our podcast.
No. I'll tell you later. And you'll never know about it. It's the last episode. No. Yeah, no, I won't say it. It'll give me anxiety. But it's like, yeah, it's the what you said. It's like wanting to have control about how it goes down and when it goes down, and it's like it's just so unrealistic.
It is, especially when there's other people involved, and you're like, well, I want to make sure that they don't feel this way, and that they don't. I just want to make sure everyone.
Yeah, and it's also low key. I mean, I can speak more for myself. It's like kind of more of an excuse because I'm just
also that
I'm so because it's kind of career oriented too, where it's like, well, I don't know what else is out there if I leave this situation. It's just like, well,
fear-based.
It's like, if I do leave, what does that mean? Like, it's shit everywhere. Like, what do I do?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's true. It's hard to distinguish those. Oh, what would you say that we kind of started talking about it, but like your biggest lesson or lessons this year were?
Shit. It's a good question.
Yeah.
Let me think.
I think that
biggest lesson, the biggest lesson. Oh, yeah. Like it's like I had something, but it was like not thought out.
Yeah.
I don't know if this is like too general or too lame.
No.
But or boring. Maybe boring is the right answer. That it's going to be okay.
Yeah.
I think
that's not lame at all. That's like that's inner peace, like achieving more inner peace.
Yeah. Like all the problems that I present myself that'll keep me up at night, quite literally sometimes, it's never that bad.
Yeah.
It's never that bad. It's never as bad as I make it out to be.
Yeah.
Maybe more like as like a bullet point underneath that, like I would say my ability to handle tough situations. There's a line that I read somewhere about like how, advice for someone who deals with a lot of anxiety when it comes to future situations. Like your anxiety about grief one day, your anxiety about dealing with a child one day, or possibly having debt or buying a house or, whatever, like possibly getting a disease one day, like all of these things that a lot of people have anxieties over. And I read a line of just like, you've always been able to handle every situation up until this point. So trust your future self to handle future problems.
That's good.
And it's like a very good, like to remind myself that has been really good.
Yeah,
and I've been learning
the burden of your future problems off of your current self, because
you'll handle
anything about it right now.
You've handled everything so far.
Yeah.
You've handled everything. Like you're okay. So what makes you think you're not going to be okay one day?
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
yeah. And even if you aren't one day, life goes on and it gets better.
Yeah, it's not gonna. Nothing lasts forever.
Yeah,
and it'll never be as bad as you make it out to be. You'll always be able to figure it out.
Yeah, that's a really good one.
What about you? What's your biggest lesson?
Maybe what we were just talking about like just like when you know that something needs to change, just surrendering to it, accepting it. And then just like surrendering to it instead of trying to control how and when it changes.
Oh, that's such a good one.
If you know
that's actually
that it's
maybe
like
a better one.
necessary. No, I think they're both like equally as valuable, because they're both about surrender. Because it's really just like, okay, I know that, and this is what SOS is all about. Like, okay, I know I'm not happy with like this aspect of my life. I'm not fulfilled. I'm not fully in the right place. And I don't exactly know what's next or what I want, what the right place would even look like.
Mm-hmm.
So usually we use that as enough reason to like either not pursue the change, or it's why we're afraid of change. Because we're like, well, what's in the abyss beyond that? But I've had enough things happen to me this year, but just in general, this year was one of them with that job. But like multiple things like that over my life where I'm being, this lesson is being like shouted at me. Thank you. I keep feeling something on my face, and it was in my eye. And I just need to like, okay, finally, I'll just absorb it and actually use it, because I know without fail, my gut never is wrong when I know like I'm meant for something else. I need to get out of here. Like this has expired for me and it's time for me to go. That instinct has always been right. And when I ignore it because I'm afraid to take action or whatever, that's when it gets more difficult. So it's like, yeah, I think that's a big lesson for me. It's just like, okay. And even like relationships, like last year I went through it, and it was like when things were not so great, something in me like knew that things were off, but I just kind of like talked it out and away in my head.
Yeah.
And it's like so maybe it's just trusting your instinct over and over, like trust your instinct, and then not just trust it like, okay, well, I trust it. I know I should be in a different job by now. I trust that, but then do something about it.
Yeah, don't get complacent in your misery or because it's really easy because it's comfortable and familiar.
Yeah, that's it. Don't get complacent in your misery. That's a line.
Yeah, I mean, it's easy. It's easy to feel very familiar and not want to get out of things that trouble you and hurt you because you're scared of the other side of it. You're scared of what it looks like without that thing because you're so used to it. Like, but what if it's worse? But what if it's better?
Yeah, and also when you get to a point where you're so unhappy with something, whether it's a relationship or a job, the fear, it's such an invalid fear if you think about it too. Like, what if it's worse? Because are you not already at the worst possible point? You're at rock bottom, which is why you're desperately trying to figure out what's next.
Yeah.
So
you're unhappy.
Yeah,
you're unhappy. That's enough.
Like, I can't even tell you, like that job that I was talking about. And then that day after, like the day that it ended, I guess the day it happened, I was like, oh my God, it was like the biggest, I felt so much lighter.
Yeah.
I felt like a weight was lifted. I felt so much happier and lighter despite the anxieties of like, okay, what's next? But even that, within 24 hours, that came my way. And so I feel like it's just a thing of like, I was like hanging on to this blockage. And then once it's like the current was trying to rip it away. And once I let go of it, all these things that were like meant for me were able to reach me now.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's a lot of trust.
You know what it is too? I think it's very invalidating of your feelings to not get out of that situation.
Yes.
Like, because if you're gaslighting yourself into you know what I mean? Like making every excuse in the book not to leave a bad situation that your gut is telling you to run from.
Yeah.
It's almost like you're just like, my feelings aren't valid here. You're ignoring the fact that you're unhappy.
Yes.
Just to keep moving. You're just invalidating yourself. You're telling yourself that your feelings aren't real, valid, and something to deal with. You're not putting yourself first.
Yeah.
And
it's true. Yeah,
they're valid. Like, it's okay. It's okay. It's real that you're unhappy. That it's enough.
Yeah, that's enough.
Yeah,
to like look for a change and try to make a change.
You don't want your boss to fucking slap you across the face for that to be the the end for you. Like your cap. I guess. Like you're always gonna move that goalpost. Well, if it gets to this point, then I'll leave.
And that was the thing too. Like I was there for a while, a number of years, and anyone it was a small team, but like there was one person I worked really closely with, and then one other that was there pretty frequently for a lot of that time too. And all three of us were just like miserable, and we commiserated with each other the whole time. And we would talk about this all the time, like boosting each other up, like, hey, have you pursued this? Like you're so good at, you need to like encouraging one another to get out, because we all wanted out. And then it became what you just said of like, you know, when it gets to this point, when it gets to this point, and it was the blessing in that job was that I had these two friends there that were like actually close friends.
Yeah.
But it was also like because we cared for each other and we're so supportive of each other and we're around each other every day, it was this weird thing of like, well, we don't want to lose that.
Yeah.
And so it just became really
trauma
hard.
bonding.
Yeah, trauma bonding. And then it just became a thing of like, okay, well, and it was like, well, once you're gone, I'm gone. And once you're gone, and then it just like,
yeah,
you know, one of them left, the other one of them left. And then it was just me there. And then and I'm like, nobody that was there wanted to stay. But then once they were all gone, I thought it would be easier, but then it felt like more pressure on me because then I was like, now it's all on me. So now I got to like figure out how to transition out and not like I do so many things here. Like I don't want to just like drop the ball and leave. But that was, again, me making another excuse. So like, well, once this person's gone, then it's okay, but now they're gone. But now it's actually more on me. So now I have to, you can make excuses forever.
Yeah. Abuse shouldn't have a goalpost. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like being abused and feeling abused shouldn't have a goalpost.
Yeah.
Like it is enough for the abuse to occur, how it occurs, and for you to acknowledge it and do something about it.
Yeah.
And learning the red flags about what that looks like. I mean, we've had episodes on that. We're going to continue to have episodes on that about like what to look for. Cause maybe it's one of those things where it's like, you don't really realize maybe you're young in the workforce or in a relationship too. Like the red flags in a relationship, you could be blinded to because you're just seeing stars when you look at your partner, but you don't see the abuse that's happening and you'll move the goalpost. Like, well, they're not yelling at me, so it's fine. Oh, they're yelling at me, but they're not hitting me. You know what I mean?
Also used to do, I would also be like, well, this is like, when I was serving, I would have given anything for these problems because this, at least I'm somewhere where I'm creative. I have one of my best friends here with me all day. Like there are all these upsides. And so it's like what we were talking about in our inner child episode of like excusing, well, your trauma, but it's like, well, other people have it worse. So it's not so bad. Yep. And so it's like, looking at, like I was doing that. I was like, well, thank God it's not this because I used to have it like way worse. So this is way better than that. Yeah, and then
that'll add the comparing will add the goalposting because other people they're getting half the pay that I do. Yep. So it's like, why should I complain?
Exactly.
Other people they're getting hit by their partners. They're getting like physically abused. Yes. So it's okay for me to stay in this emotionally, verbally abusive relationship. It's like, no.
And it's just like, for me, it was a job thing, but it was like the psyche of what happens to like a battered woman in a relationship where you, from the outside, you wonder like, 100%. why are you still here? It was like, well, when it escalates to like physical abuse and then that happens and it's like, well, it was just a black eye. When a bone breaks is when I'm gonna,
right.
And then it just goes and go. Okay, well, when he touches my kid is when I'm gonna, it just keeps going forever. And like, and that's an extreme case, but I'm like for work, for me, it was like, a lot of emotional and like a lot of abusive situations there. But then it was like, okay, well, when this happens, okay, well, now I'm not being even paid. Okay. The financial, okay, now, okay, well, when this happens that came and went.
Yeah,
it was just
so easy.
It's so easy.
It's so easy to fall into that. And I think, at the end of the day, I think like what we're saying, like, when we're learning is literally like self-respect.
Yes.
And gaining more of that ourselves. And I think that's a lot about like being in your 30s.
Yeah.
Is like being like to people that like don't see us as people
exactly.
like that deserve basic human needs.
Yeah. And just people that like, basic human needs.
Like don't abuse me and pay me, please.
So just the small things, just
treat me.
And especially when you have like other people around you who are having the same experience. It's not even like, you can't even talk yourself into like, oh, maybe it's not that bad. Maybe I'm being dramatic.
Right.
When you see it happening to your friends that are there too, so it's just like big lessons this year for me with that. I know it's very like cryptic because I'm not saying names and stuff, but that was like a real big part of my year, Yeah. And so it's just like, some lessons. When I step back and take lessons from that, I'm like, okay, I knew it was bad for way too long. And so, next time I'm going to see the signs and I'm promising myself, like, I will have my own back and like step away when I know it's going there. So I don't get too far down that path. Because it's
I hear
before
you.
you know it, you're 65.
Yeah, I think it's very relatable to be in that situation and like assume that something else, like there's going to be an outside force to take care of the exit, to take care of your removal of the situation. When that's you, all you, baby. That is all
like you keep waiting for the cleanup crew to come and like direct and like, we got aisle 6 is good now. Okay, now walk out this door. It's like, no, that you just got to leave.
But this is my thing, is that like, I feel like that's what happened to me to get out of the service industry.
Yeah.
Because it was COVID that got me laid off. So I did wait.
Well, and
but that doesn't work. Like, it worked, but like,
but that's
still,
once a century.
I was there for so long. Like, I should have left way sooner than that.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like at what cost?
Yeah.
So even if there is a cleanup crew, like you know what I mean? Yeah. Hypothetically, something to take you away.
Uh-huh. Hold on, she's dying. Sending the cleanup crew.
Do not rely on it.
Yeah.
You'll feel better as a human, and more connected to yourself to do it on your own. You'll feel better about it that you made that decision and nobody else.
Yeah.
Because I feel like the aftermath of like being laid off, I still had so many like questions, because it was before I was like, it's like I was ready, but I wasn't.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So you're like,
and it was still a thing of like, am I going to go back in a couple months though? Yeah. Like you don't know. Exactly. It wasn't like a full step away. You're like,
true. Yeah.
I mean, it was, but you didn't know that it was going to be. Yeah.
It was way too transitional of a situation. Like I didn't feel grounded. Yeah. You know, in a particular point of anything. Like I mean, it was lockdown of COVID. That was, I doubt anybody felt comfortable in their shoes. You know, shoes.
Yeah. Yeah. What was the phrase you made up last time? I don't know if you made it up. Boiler points. I think it's a thing. Sorry, we're going back to
anyway. Yeah. This year's been good. There's been ups and downs. Mm-hmm. I'm really excited about some projects I have coming up. Yes. Acting wise.
Yeah, you're like on a roll this year though. Your auditions and you're like booking, you're on a roll.
They're ramping up, and especially with Tax Act.
Yes.
Pew, pew. Love them. They keep a girl keeping her lights on,
booked and busy. Yeah. Keeping her lights on.
I can't go into specific details about what's heating up there, but I will soon, and you guys will hear about it. But some fun, really cool stuff. Nothing like crazy, but like funny.
Yeah,
but
good, but fun.
And I really want to go into it. I can't until I have more details to share. But like, even like the day, because I just shot a recent spot that is really cool, and there's I had like an NDA, so I can't really talk too much about it. But there was like a lot of extras.
Yeah.
Oh, I can talk about this. I had this weird feeling. I don't know if this is the episode to do this, but whatever. Fuck it. I'm being introspective. At the shoot, and I've been like the lead on set before.
Yeah.
Like the main actor, and like, yeah, you feel like you're taken care of in a certain way, and it's like there's responsibility with your lines and everything. And usually with Tax Act, there's there's at least like one or two other actors that I'm working off of.
Right.
And this is the first one where it's just me.
Oh.
And there's a ton of background actors and crew and da-da-da. So it's just me and the camera. And so it was a lot. And I got the script like 10 hours ahead of time. I didn't have a lot of time to memorize, but I thankfully memorized things fast. And I don't know what it is. It's almost like when I'm telling Ryan about it or my friends, like I feel like I'm a different person when I'm on set in front of a camera. Like it is just like I go into a zone and it's the best. It's like a high that you love, because when you're doing what you love, you get that feeling. But maybe it's like something like when you're performing and no one's ever seen you perform, and it's like, don't you feel like it's like a different we talked about it, a different persona.
It's like an alter ego.
It's like 100%. There's a different alter ego at play that's confident and in control and can handle every take, right?
Yeah.
And you just gotta fake it.
Yeah.
You just gotta fake it. And it was just so wild. And I've been complimented on set before, and it's one of those things as an artist, like compliments. You remember, like you're more hard on yourself.
Yes.
Like it's really hard for me to absorb compliments, but this was another level. Like there were people there that were just like shaking my hand.
Really?
Like the background was just like, wow, like what did you do? Like asking me questions and like,
way.
you know, there were so many and they were just like, you're doing so good. They were just being so supportive and sweet. Like it was just a different, it was a different vibe and I felt very,
valued and
yes, very
admired.
valued, very, yeah. And I don't want to like be braggy about this.
No, this is
like, I really hope that's why I feel like when I don't want to be braggy. It's more of just like,
we're told
I'm
that
still
things
trying to
are braggy, but it's like not.
I'm trying to also process it because it doesn't feel, and I'm not saying like it was a movie star. Like I'm not a movie star. I know, you know what I mean? But it was very much when you have that kind of pressure and like everyth's on you and
like
you're doing it.
Level of professionalism.
Yeah.
Like
and you're doing it right. And there's people high up that are telling you like, we've dealt with talent that are not nearly as good as you.
Alyssa,
Like
this is so cool.
It was wild, and I think what was good about this specific spot too is that I felt like there was more of my personality in it.
Yeah.
I got more goofy, so I felt even better about my performance.
Yeah.
Also, the last spots we shot in 110-degree heat wave in Santa Clarita, so I was
big red
dissociated. But yeah, I just like felt good, and I was getting the validation. I was getting validation that like I don't know, as an actor. It's just rejection after rejection after rejection.
Right.
So I don't really look for like you just gotta kind of shut that part of you off, the need for validation as an actor. You really can't expect it because you're just going to be affected mentally.
Yeah.
I don't want to speak for every actor, but it's the best advice I can give.
Like that's what the whole thing of acting is like
it's validation. Yeah, you gotta be accepted to get the job, and you got to be accepted by the audience to tell the story.
A lot of people do it because they're seeking validation.
100%.
So it's just like this weird jumble.
And of course, like there's a small part of that for everybody. You know what I mean? But like,
also you do want to be. It's not a selfish or any type of bad thing to want to be acknowledged for your craft and your work.
Yes, as an an artist, and
so when you are really, you have a lot of responsibility, and it's all on you, and you are putting a lot of work in as you do with this, like.
So it's like, oh, is Alyssa's here? Like, Alyssa, Alyssa. Like, everyone's like, I always have someone around me, you know what I mean? Taking me here, getting my lunch, you know what I mean? It's a very odd situation. And then to leave that and go to my Uber share back home, you know what I mean? And like, not to say I don't, like, I have a very nice apartment and stuff like that, but it's just,
it's like stepping
contrast
into a
to my very more humble life than what it is than like what happens on set, and specifically what happened this week.
Yeah.
I don't know if this makes sense.
No, what?
I said it again.
Oh my gosh. Maybe next year, maybe that's a goal of yours, is to say that less.
Okay, that's a good idea. Goals. Yes, personal goals. I want to stop saying, does that make sense? Because we had like a little epiphany.
We had a discussion about this. And
that I say that most likely because I'm just someone that wants to be heard and understood, coming from a place of being the baby in the family and possibly not being understood and like not being confident in my emotions and expressing them and explaining them,
and not feeling like you're not going to be taken seriously or something. Yeah. So
that's my goal.
That's a good one.
Yeah. Wait, I feel like I had another goal. Yes, I guess I want to start recording the writing project. Yeah. Start getting that rolling, hopefully.
Yeah.
And also, booking more. I don't want to go back to the service industry.
Yeah, no.
And our podcast. I'm ready to level. We've had conversations about leveling up.
Yes.
And we're building connections to help that happen as well. So we're excited and
ready to grow that, because we've just been like coasting for a while now that we have it consistent and it's solid, and it's like
it's so easy because we talk so easily, and I thought I don't know if I said this last night when we were talking about it, but it's like it's so nice to just talk and shit and not worry about anything else, right? Because the business side is so.
I know, and that's what's like holding it. Well, that is a big goal of ours for next year, is like figuring out a way to get to the next level with the podcast, like monetization, and also just like breaking through that next level of like listeners, finding new, bigger audience.
Yeah.
Not new, but bigger audience.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's a big goal for us, like, collectively.
Yeah. What about you? Other goals?
Yeah, I definitely want to do like multiple shows that are my shows next year, and just like perform a lot of my new stuff live and get back on the live scene, because I hadn't done that in so long, except for last night, and Alyssa was there.
So good. It was so good.
So I love that you came. That really made it. Because but yeah, I want to be like back on the live scene next year. Also, I want to release more songs. I want to shoot. I would like to do 2 videos next year.
Ooh.
But aside from that, it's like, now that I'm getting this body of work from this album, I'm like trickling out. I want to, I'll have more of it out now. There's like 5 songs out now, and there's more that'll be, coming and coming and coming. And I want to then, once the body of it is there, really use it to like get my momentum for my next, kind of like how we're talking about leveling up the podcast to the next outcome. We're kind of like at a plateau, just need to break through that next level. That's how I feel with my music. So that's next year. That's like all I have my eyes on, because now I'm in a better job situation where I don't have to worry about not being paid for work I've already done.
It's crazy.
That's so crazy.
Wow.
So
you're
weird.
asking a lot.
Really,
actually,
really asking a lot.
You need to humble yourself.
Yeah. I just like, I feel comfortable saying this now that I'm out, but let me just express that I was owed up to $12,000. From $4,000 to $12,000 at any given moment for a whole year. So that like really also creatively held me up, because I'm like, I can't even if I know I already have this money is owed to me, but I still can't allocate it to this music video or this, because I haven't been paid it yet. So it just was really holding me up. And now,
I'm sure mentally too. It's just like, I'm sure that could also fuck with you mentally about like self-worth, like, because that's just like, you're not being treated like a fucking human, like these are labor laws that are completely being like, this is
disregarded. There's a lot more to it. But I like, now that I'm in a place where I'm like secure, I feel like I'm being paid fairly for what I'm doing, and I'm being actually paid for my work, and I can just like, and it's creative.
Getting literally compensated for my labor.
Being compensated for what I've done. And also, just like, basic stuff. But then it allows me then to actually really move on these things that I'm just like, had been, waiting, and like, well, maybe she'll pay me by the summer. Oh, maybe by September. Maybe, like, it was like that for a whole year. And it really was like, how do I plan this music video where it's going to cost this much, or money that I know I've already made, I just don't have yet.
How do I record, like, pay an engineer, pay
exactly. Like a band, all this stuff. So I'm really grateful.
And also
for this.
Keep a fucking roof over your head.
Yeah.
And
also like my normal
gas.
stuff. Like it was really bad. It was actual hell. But now
I can see clearly now the rain is gone.
But that's what it feels like. And so now I'll be able and just relax into like focus, putting that, knowing what I'm getting, knowing that I'm going to get it on time. And then like being able to grow these things for myself that I was having to just kind of like wait on other people for. So now that's, my goals for next year.
Love that. So, stay in tune, saucers, for updates from us personally and on the podcast. I guess this is considered professionally. We're professionals.
Yeah, we are professionals.
So,
even though if you listen to this episode, it might not sound like it.
No, we are.
Trust us, we are.
We can be professionals and be silly.
Also, I want to shout out the top of the year, one of our most popular guests, Jordan Schomer, astrologer and friend.
We got to do it. It's a tradition now.
Yeah, it's our tradition. She's going to take a look at the year ahead with us, looking at 2023, right at the top of the year. So,
and she's never wrong.
She's never wrong. She really isn't. I have that paper that she wrote down about 2022. Yeah. I'll send you a picture of it. I took notes when she did. Yeah, it's accurate.
Oh, good. Okay, good.
Accurate. So we have some really, really exciting episodes coming up in January, top of the year.
I hope you have an amazing holiday. I hope if you are with family, if you are alone, you deserve happiness and love and respect. And you are worthy.
Yes.
And you
And
you are me. I am looking at talking to myself in the future.
We're talking to us watching our own YouTube.
Follow us.
Yeah.
Follow us.
Follow us on Instagram, Twitter.
At the SOS Pod. We're on YouTube, SOS with Molly and Alyssa. You can see us be crazy. And
this was us normal.
Right. Mm-hmm. True. You can also subscribe to us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and rate and review us. It helps us reach more people. And we have a Patreon. So please subscribe to that. Depending on what tier you get, you'll get exclusive merch, exclusive content, bonus interviews. You'll also get the opportunities to suggest some episodes in 2023. So that's always fun.
Yes. So please tune into that. Yep. And I'm Molly Cottrell.
I'm Alyssa Rosano.
Here's to turning meltdowns
into magic. Happy New Year!
Happy New Year! When is this coming out?
December.
April.